The unfiltered one herself, Sara Gonzales, is here right now. I'm James Polis. This is Zero Hour. Sara Gonzales is everyone's favorite spicy Latina. She hosts Sara Gonzales Unfiltered right here on Blaze TV. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
So there's like an election campaign season.
I hear.
And it's happening.
It sure is, whether we like it or not.
Very dumbest one that we've ever done.
It is.
Including when there was a literal know-nothing party in the United States of America.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's difficult to swallow.
But we got to make it through. We got to do this.
Yeah.
This is the life we chose.
It is. It's a thankless life, but someone's got to do it.
Somebody truly has got to do it. So let's get started. We should start with Donald Trump.
Okay.
He's the guy.
Yes.
Without him, none of this happens. No
Right.
more elections. No more America. Nothing.
Right.
I think it was like Norm Macdonald, a Stygian silence awaits.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's back on Twitter. Mm-hmm. He's tweeting. His emails got hacked.
Mm-hmm.
I think there was like a fragment of a teleprompter screen like grazed his ear at some point.
It was just the screen
or
though,
something,
don't worry. Yeah.
just a scratch, right?
Yeah.
Nothing this insane has ever happened during a presidential campaign, and it's become the new normal.
And that's what I fear, honestly, is that if this is just if this is what our elections are like from here on out, I don't know, I might need to tap out because it's just been like drinking from a fire hose with everything that's happened. I mean, I guess really honestly since the assassination attempt. I mean, think about how much has happened since then. We had that happen, and then all of a sudden Biden has COVID, and then all of a sudden Biden drops out, and then Kamala wasn't the person until all of a sudden she was because Obama held out and then seemingly said okay and gave the sign off. And I mean, it's just so much has happened, and I'm like, wow, it's been what, a month?
It's been about a month.
It feels like 84 years.
It feels like everyone.
I feel like I'm the old woman from the Titanic.
We are all Joe Biden now. Yeah. We are all just kind of like on the beach, like motionless, just waiting.
Yeah.
I guess he's still president.
Isn't that so? I was just thinking about that the other day. I'm like, once they decided to pivot and they made this pivot, we like have not heard anything from Joe Biden and no one seems to care.
I'm not sure he's presidenting.
Well, no, of course he's not, but he hasn't been this entire time. And we at least still pretended like he was. Yeah. We went through the motions. We made him answer questions about current events and things that were going on. And now just everyone is like, yeah, I mean, we all knew he wasn't running the show anyway, so we might as well just not bother him.
So what's Trump look like in this environment where he's running against a president who isn't presidenting? The Veep, who seems like she came out of the show Veep, is running only on vibes. Right. And yet there's still like camp number one saying Trump's campaign sucks and he needs to fire people. He's losing momentum. Camp number two is like, no, the polls look great. We've got this. All of the, the same like election integrity fortification stuff is looming in the background.
Yeah.
What is your assessment of the man's odds as of right now?
I mean, as of right now, I think that it's difficult. It's going to be difficult for him as of right now, only because, and we can talk about Kamala more in depth, but only because.
Oh, we'll get to her.
Yeah. We can talk about her, but because I think he is fighting against a momentum shift right now. After the assassination attempt, everyone was like, there's literally no way this man doesn't win at this point. And then so much shifted. And now you've got a different dynamic. And I think that he's lost a little bit of the momentum. I'm hopeful that getting back on X and the things that he has done in that regard maybe helps him. But I am a little bit concerned. I mean, I do have concerns. I'm in, camp number one, where people are a little bit concerned with the staff that he has around him. One of his, campaign advisors is a former Never Trumper. You just worry because with Donald Trump, he could say anything or do anything at any particular moment in time that would turn people off. And I think he's had a couple of those moments since the assassination attempt. And I want to see more momentum from him.
Yeah. Well, there's still this sort of like longing that you can see deep within the Donald, a longing to be everyone's president, to be the celebrity, to be just like the kind of, daddy of America.
Yeah. Yeah, but the problem is that I think that he falls into this trap, and I can't blame him for it, honestly. I think he falls into this trap of thinking that if he just appeases everyone, that the left will come over to his side.
Yeah.
They'll finally like him. They'll finally accept him. They'll finally stop trying to make up stories about Russian dossiers and people peeing on him, right? Like he thinks if I can just be this middle of the road guy, everyone's president, maybe I'll say some, middle of the road things on abortion and the left will gravitate towards me. And it's just, God bless him, but it's like they're literally never going to do that. They hate your guts. You can't say anything that's going to bring them over to you, so you might as well just rule with an iron fist, in my opinion.
Well, he is bringing sort of like all the guys, all the black dudes, like all the spicy Latino boys. Like there's a real gender gap going on right now, and it is transcending race.
Yeah.
All of the most rabid anti-Trump people are your single white women.
Yeah, well, and it'll be interesting to see too how many black women end up voting for Kamala or against Donald Trump just because Kamala identifies as black at this particular moment. But
married non-white women, what will they do? That's kind of the
right, exactly. But the childless cat ladies, as JD Vance called them, it's really sad when those are the people who could be they make everything, right? They make the difference. They make the decision, really.
And they're sitting over there saying, like, this is tremendously insulting. My cat is my child.
Right. How dare you insinuate otherwise? Obviously, it's the same thing.
Never speak to me or my cat child again.
Right. And it really is depressing when you think about it, because these are the people who are going to make the ultimate decision, and they have no skin in the game. If you want to count their cat, maybe. But, like, they don't have children. They don't, like, what is their skin in the game? Yeah. And they're the ones who...
It's resentment.
It is resentment and misery.
How long has it been since soccer moms? We went from soccer moms to cat moms in, like, I don't know. It feels like 2 elections.
Really quick.
Yeah.
So it is very scary when you think about that.
Because those soccer kids went to college and became today's cat moms.
Yeah, they did.
Who could have predicted?
Yeah. Well, and they can't have any children because, that would go against their environmental policies.
Yes, in this economy.
That's fair.
Yeah. Well, but these are also the people who are like, crying on TikTok because it costs like $200 to buy like like the big pack of Kit Kat.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Trump's got the rappers.
That's true.
He's got like the sports, like UFC is totally like Trumpville, so much so that he was willing to sort of like call out Joe Rogan.
Yeah, but see, I didn't really like that move. Did you like that move?
Because why? I don't know. Do I like it? Do I hate it? Do I know the difference anymore?
Right.
It's hard to be sure. Rogan is a little bit wants to have it both ways. Even more so than Trump does, which 100%. Is saying something. Yeah. So it's not that surprising to me that you've got like this kind of friction between the guys who are like, I could be super based, but I can also be like based in a way that everyone secretly likes.
Right.
Yeah. So,
but also I'm voting for RFK. Were you really that based then?
Oh, but then he was like, I'm not voting for RFK. I just really like RFK. It's like Kyle Rittenhouse. He's like, hey guys, like Ron Paul. And then bro didn't make it 24 hours.
I spoke to him on the phone, Kyle. And I was just like, I was like, could you, like next time you think you want to do something like this, could you just give me a ring? Mm-hmm. Just call me and I'll talk you out of it.
What did he say?
He was like, yeah.
Yes, I'm sorry. Please don't hurt me.
Yeah, he's like, I don't know what I was thinking. Apparently he was at a libertarian conference and had just spent some time with Ron Paul. And had all of this libertarian energy.
That is how virulent libertarianism is. You goes to a conference once, walks out
Yeah,
with like "Love Revolution" on your t-shirt.
Yeah, just blow up your entire life with one tweet.
Right. But he put it back together.
He did.
So, I haven't seen as of yet any real fallout from this kind of Rogan Trump jousting.
Yeah.
But gosh, I mean, Trump is still sort of the biggest guy on the block, and Rogan, Rogan's still talking about like doing peyote with aliens.
Well, that's kind of Rogan's thing.
It is his thing. It is. But I don't know if it's powerful enough to go up against the Trump mojo.
I don't think so. I just don't like picking fights with everyone for, them not, maybe just not like wearing a Donald Trump campaign jersey everywhere they go.
Yeah.
That's my thing. Is like, I didn't like it in the primaries. And it feels like every single election cycle, the primaries get more and more insane and everyone hates each other for a very long time. Except this time, it felt like there was some hatred that like usually it goes away. And we all say, okay, all right, that was the primaries. We're back together now because we got to band together to defeat the left. And this year, it just feels a little bit different. I think that there was so much infighting with the Trump camp and the DeSantis camp. And there were so many things said that like they're not getting back together, some of them. Some of them did come around.
Yeah.
But I think there is a certain portion of the DeSantis diehards who just couldn't get over. They had hurt feelings. They couldn't get over the mean things that were said. And so with the Rogan thing, with kind of lashing out at him, I just worry. It's like, do we really need to make an enemy of Joe Rogan? I don't think so.
Let him say what he has to say. It almost feels to me like they're not sure that Kamala is really going to be the opponent.
I don't blame them for that.
And so what do you do in the meantime?
Right. Yeah. I mean, that's fair. That's fair. I mean, even with the debates, Trump agreed to a certain amount of debates with Joe Biden, and then they did a little swapperoo, and now Kamala's in. And Trump's campaign was like, well, hold on, we didn't agree to debates with Kamala. We agreed to debates with Joe because he was the candidate. Yeah. Why would we waste our time and energy on debating this person when we don't even know if this is going to be the candidate?
Why, indeed.
So, I mean, I can't blame them for that. I mean, you're talking about resources, you're talking about time, energy, money that you need to know where to spend it and why. And they're just kind of in this constant state of, flux.
But time is running out.
Yeah, it is.
So we gotta like deal with the reality of Kamala.
Right.
Such as it is.
That's depressing.
It is depressing.
We really have to deal with the reality that is Kamala.
I think insofar as she really exists, yes.
Yeah, okay.
So.
Okay.
All right. We all know her. We know the zero delegates. We know the like first to drop out.
Yeah.
We know that, classic vice presidential material. We know the sort of haikus from the 10th dimension that are constantly coming out of her mouth.
She loves Venn diagrams.
Yeah, we got the cackle down. Was there anything else in there? It's like when you got like you got the Amazon order and you open the box and it's full of like peanuts and you're like digging around in there for like where's the actual product?
Yeah, and then it never comes.
And it's not in
You
there.
shake the box and it's just the peanuts and you're like, wait, we're missing something.
Yeah, it's just
any substance.
It's just a meme.
Yeah.
Peanut box.
Yes, yeah. And sadly, that peanut box is gaining a lot of momentum.
Absolutely.
Which is what I'm scared about.
Right,
Trump.
because it's like, think of all the things that you don't want. None of those are in the box. Right?
Right.
Who doesn't like that?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, I mean, I like that you bring up the rappers. Because I do think that Donald Trump, it is nice to see the Black culture kind of, gravitate towards him. Finally, I feel like he's like, I was your guy until I wasn't.
Right.
And I just want to be your guy again.
Yeah, and away from Kamala.
Yeah, Kamala.
Is that what we're going with?
Yeah.
Have you figured that one out?
Nope, sure haven't. I think it's another kofefe.
Yeah, that's like good though, right? Like the nonsense word for the nonsense person.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah.
I'm fine with it, honestly.
Right, because like what guy is gonna like really pull that lever for her? You see the white dudes for
Harris.
Uh-huh.
It's so I get secondhand embarrassment anytime I see anyone posting about that unironically, and then I look at their profile picture and I'm like, checks out.
Jeff
always
Bridges
look like
on
that.
There was just like personally hurtful to me. I was like, this is a macro aggression against my very fond memories of Jeff Bridges.
Yeah.
I wanted to do like a White Russians for Kamala thing because of the Big Lebowski, but like nobody got it. And
Yeah,
I'll
it
keep
is
trying.
really.
I'll
Yeah,
keep
keep trying.
Yeah.
Keep at it.
I mean, if she can make it in this world, then like my terrible, terrible like 90s callbacks humor can make it, right?
I would think so.
Please. Let me have this.
Yeah, I would
I need
think so.
this to make it through. For realsies though, like, can she go the distance?
Look, I would love to live in a country where I could just say no because we all know she's stupid and has absolutely no experience other than Lily Brown.
But
I'll just
in
leave
fairness,
that there.
she's not just stupid. She's also shallow and vain and power hungry.
Right. Okay. Yes. And I would like to live in a country where you and I can just be like, yeah, of course she doesn't have a chance. There's no, of course, because everyone sees that and we all can agree as a country we don't want that. But that's not the society that we live in.
No.
And so we now live in a society where things like, influencing the youth by this inorganic type of, momentum, whether or not it's inorganic, apparently doesn't matter. And so I am a little bit worried about her momentum that she's gaining right now. I really am. I think that her campaign is being smart. I see her digital ads literally everywhere, all the time on YouTube. They're on TikTok. I mean, they're in all the right places. Now, the only thing I will say on that particular risk is, do those people who are watching that on TikTok show up on election day? Or do they find something better to do, like go get their nails done? I don't know.
You got to actually tell me what's going on with the ads, because I haven't seen the ads.
Really?
Maybe I'm just like in all the right places and you're in all the wrong places.
Clearly.
I don't know what's going on.
Take me to where you are.
What's going on there? But what is it? How do you cut an ad for a non-entity?
Well, I mean, it's just basically asking for money. Right. So there's
absolutely nothing else that you can offer as a candidate.
So there's Kamala videos I feel like every time I click on a YouTube video, it's apparently I'm in the wrong algorithm and it shows me a Kamala video asking for money. Obama's cutting videos asking for money for her campaign. But then you've also got the money that they're spending on TikTok influencers who are being paid to make videos about supporting Kamala Harris.
Yeah. And are these like Zoomers with like the septum piercing and the like
I'm sure some of them are.
Who have they dredged up to do these endorsements?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure some of them are, but I mean, I can't speak to who all they are. I can speak to the leaked emails that I've seen offering to pay up to $20,000 for influencers.
Doesn't matter who you are if you'll do it for 20 grand.
I mean, I would hope that it would be someone big. You'd think it'd be a waste of money if they're like, hey, random TikToker, would you like to make 20K? I mean, you got to think that they're being strategic about who they're offering this type of money to send them to the DNC. Yeah. But that's the type of money that they're offering. You got to believe there are a lot of people who are willing to just be paid off.
I got to get in on that.
Paid for. I know.
I mean, I'd do it. Everyone would know everyone knows it's not real, and it would be too late. They wouldn't realize it.
Yeah. I mean, I would take it for the Trump campaign just because I already talk about walking over broken glass to vote for Trump. So like, sign me up. If I can make money while doing that, fine, because I actually believe it. But I mean, you've got all of these, these TikTok these influencers. I hate that word, but I mean, what are they What else are they doing this for?
Maybe we can do like an election special where we literally walk over broken glass
to go vote.
Raise money. Does that violate any election laws?
I don't think so.
No? Any
we'll find out.
Like talent abuse laws?
Yeah, maybe. We have good health insurance here.
Yeah, okay. So she can go the distance.
I think
Probably.
I think so. Now, I will say, if she can get away, you know how Biden ran from the basement?
Yes.
She kind of is doing a version of that because she's not really talking to the media.
No, she's running into the basement.
Right.
Yes.
But that worked for Biden.
It did.
So that may work for her.
So I got married the day after the assassination attempt.
Oh, wow.
So that ceremony really dodged a bullet. And then, it's honeymoon time. And so the last column that I wrote for Blaze was Joe Biden, our last human president. And then the weeks unfold, and it's like, oh, he really was our last human president. He's being replaced with this sort of collection of, consciousnesses, and we might know some of their names and some of them not. Yeah. And then Kamala comes along, and it's not even a name, and she's not even really there's no policies. Nope. No interviews. I think they gave her one speech to deliver, and she's sort of doing the one speech. Very robotic, very hive mind, and could be substituted with a hologram or a sort of AI. They have the technology. People are bugging about like, oh, it's just fake rally photos. No, it's AI. I think the whole candidacy is AI generated. Yeah, like she could just be on the beach anywhere in the world and let that projection do the thing. And it's, people have been going to see like gorillas shows for decades, and that's just cartoons projected on a screen. Right. And they're in the back somewhere like playing, I guess, but it might also just be like press play on and so this is what we're faced with. We are faced with a fundamentally new kind of candidacy fueled by technology and, idiocracy.
Yeah. And as you just laid that out so insightfully, it becomes even more depressing to me that we can't just all say that we don't want that. That's not what we want. Like, that is really bad for the country. Yeah. And yet you have seemingly half the country who, look, I mean, like, bless their hearts, the left. There are a good portion of them who are just useful idiots. But you'd like to believe that there should be enough of them that are not that dumb, right? Like, they have to understand it.
What have they got, though? I mean, gosh, if you sort of, think back to 2008, Barack Obama,
the great orator.
We don't have to vote for Hillary Clinton in order to win. Like, this is a new era has dawned. Yeah. A golden god has descended. Yeah. And then he's reelected, and it's like, wow, now we're like becoming adults, and maybe we can even like, we can control the world. This is going to be great. And we're like, we're the best people, and we're like so nice, and it's all going to turn out like so awesome, you guys. And then you fast forward to like now, and it's just, it's like complete just psychosis. Yeah. And I do feel bad for them. I do. Like, this is, I do. I mean, I think millions of very innocent and youthful and naive and well-meaning Obama voters. It's like it's my first election. I can finally vote for, and then look at them now, like not loving it, not having a great time. It's been like a rough 10 years. And what have they got left? Like, the Clintons have been blown out of the water. The Bidens have been blown out of the water. Obama has just become sort of like a machine elf of some kind. Right. And and what's left? What's left is this kind of this concoction, this hallucination of a candidate, and they kind of have to like get with the new program, which is, Harris with bracketed and infinite quotation marks for president. Yeah.
I mean, well, because everyone looks at everything through a lens of tribalism.
Yes.
Right? Like, and I mean, I think that you just summed up the entire problem, that they can't just look at the country and look at the policies and the ramifications of these policies, the devastation that it's had on our country, and say, okay, like, I get it. I'm a bleeding heart liberal or whatever. I've got blue hair to prove it. But you can't tell me that, they say 11 million illegals. I think the number is far higher, but we'll just use their 11 million since Joe Biden has come into office.
Somewhere between 11 and 70.
Right. It's just 5. Yeah, but I mean, listen, somewhere in between those two numbers, right?
Ballpark.
And so, I mean, you can't look at the policies. You can't look at the destruction of this country. You can't look at the illegal immigrants, the unvetted strangers that have come into this country. You can't look at, the economic policies, everything he's done. You cannot possibly look at that and be like, we definitely need more of that. And so it's just fascinating to me that they just can't. It's like my toddler who can't admit like when he's made a poor choice.
Yeah.
Right? It's like you're talking to toddlers.
It's tough at any age.
Apparently. So it's just, you know, you would like to believe that you have these people who don't have to be so tribal and can at least say, all right, you know, I mean, like they're my people, they're my party, but this time probably got to save the country.
Maybe they'll they'll sit it out after all. Maybe they'll just go home,
I'm fine
lock
with
the
that.
door, like eat the edible, like watch the porn, and just sort of wait for it all to go away. I mean, if the election is going to be fortified, then
Right.
maybe they don't need me after all. Maybe I can just check out for election day.
You do bring up a good point, because especially with the way that they've radicalized their own party. So there is that faction who is very upset about the Israel, Hamas conflict, and very upset about how America is or is not, like they're not involving themselves correctly. And so they're very, very mad because they want America to be more anti-Israel. And so they were, during the primaries, we saw it. There were a bunch of people who said they were uncommitted because they were pissed off about how Joe Biden was handling it. So who knows how many of those decide to just not show up because they're pissed off at their own party.
Well, and after all, we've got all these, these unvetted strangers who can cast votes that Americans aren't willing to cast.
Right. What are you talking about? That's just a crazy right-wing conspiracy theory,
Yes,
James.
until the day that Unvetted Strangers for Harris launches and they do their big Zoom call, and then that's memes until Election Day.
Right. Yeah, I saw it in my Blaze Originals documentary, which I watched yours. It was fantastic, by the way.
Thank you.
But we went to Michigan and we went through all of the ways that the Secretary of State there, funded by George Soros, by the way, not a conspiracy theory, look it up. And so we looked at all of the ways that the Secretary of State there has intentionally made it less secure to vote in Michigan. And so it's like, you can't look at that and say that these types of things are not by design so that the unvetted strangers, who, by the way, Kamala wants to make, make them permanent residents or whatever. She wants to create a legal pathway for them.
Yeah.
You can't look at that, look at the facts, and say anything otherwise. It's clearly happening right under our noses.
And she's got the ultimate secret weapon.
What?
Tim Walz.
Oh, God. He's terrible.
I
honestly can't believe they picked him.
So many secrets in this secret weapon. Routine trips to China with minors, that's that's some secret weapon firepower right there.
Stolen valor.
Stolen valor, right? Yes, stolen. That secret's out. Sorry. I guess it's not quite fair and balanced to say that he's a pedo confirmed, but there's a cloud. There's a stinky cloud of suspicion hanging over this guy.
Yeah.
And, if Mike Cernovich is to be trusted, and his record on this stuff is pretty good.
Yeah.
Tim Walz may not be long for this world. He gives me Denny Hastert vibes.
Oh,
and
100%.
That's not good.
Oh, 100%. Well, I also, when I was reading his bio, when she first announced that he was going to be her running mate, and it said that he was a former social studies teacher who was the leader of the Gay Straight Alliance for his school in the 90s. And I was like, the male coach.
You can just see the red flags just popping up.
The male coach at his high school in the 90s was the Gay Straight Alliance leader. That's weird. There's no one who can convince me that is not one of the weirdest things ever.
Waltzing with danger.
Which is why I think that he immediately out of the gate decided he was the one who first called JD Vance weird.
That's right. And that's what got him the job.
Yeah. And so it's like, I think that was projection, which we know that the left does all the time, right? It's like, he's like, maybe if I call my opponent weird, they won't see how weird I actually am.
If you like what we do around here and you want a great way to let other people know what you're watching and listening to, you're going to love all the Blaze Media merchandise available at shopblazemedia.com. Everything from the Blaze Heritage and Blaze Media collections to Agua Donkeys and our Trump Vance 2024 merch. We have jackets, t-shirts, mugs, flags, and a whole lot more. There's so much you're going to love. Go to shopblazemedia.com today. Check out all the cool stuff available from Blaze Media and be sure you use the promo code BLAZE10 to get 10% off your entire order. That's shopblazemedia.com, promo code BLAZE for 10% off. Do it today.
We got all these prediction markets now for political stuff. So how much can I earn if I earn How much can I make if I, if I lay down a couple $100 on Harris's response, first words out of her mouth to Walt's dropping out under the pressure of these allegations is, right? That's what's going to happen.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Well, she doesn't have two brain cells to rub
I
together.
think even Ron DeSantis said that Waltz's days are numbered.
Yeah. I mean, which again makes you wonder, who is vetting these people? Who decided to make him the guy?
That's the problem with having a holographic campaign. The vetting's not so good.
No. Well, and then you add that combined with all of the DEI hiring policies that this administration seems to have, and you just get a Tim Walz.
Instead of a Josh Shapiro, which
Right.
is sort of a fun story in its own right.
Because he was too Jewish?
He was, trying to figure out whether he was too Jewish for the campaign would require the campaign to know, as a matter of policy, whether or not he was too Jewish. But they don't have any policies. Just couldn't figure it out.
Right. Yeah. That's a great point.
But also just too ambitious, I think also.
Okay.
That was the sort of rap on him that I sort of gleaned from what
That makes
little
sense.
trickled out of the campaign, which was, he had the final interview, the one-on-one with Kamala.
Yeah.
And, she seemed to be, she seems threatened by anyone of competence in political life.
Yes.
So that must have been a problem for her.
Honestly, if I were Kamala, I too would be threatened by those people.
The
I mean,
Jews.
Yeah, like anyone with competence, I'd be like, oh, you're going to make me look bad.
The
Sorry.
competent people, not the Jews.
Oh, no, not the
Okay, sorry.
Jews. No. Yeah, no, anyone competent.
Yeah.
So I think Kamala's probably threatened by a lot of people.
Probably so. Well, Gavin Newsom also.
Yeah.
Competent at being a politician, yes.
Yes.
Competent at governing, no.
Right, yeah. Competent at maybe being the Antichrist, yes.
Competent at hair care.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
He's got great hair. Yeah.
Yes.
He is like the white Obama, isn't he?
He is.
He is a great orator.
But not gay.
That we know of.
I don't know. He seems pretty heterosexual to me.
He's like this, Obama was the greatest orator of our time. So Gavin Newsom, he can speak really well. Everything coming out of his mouth is a lie, but it sounds really believable.
Yes.
Which is what made him so dangerous.
Yes.
But
unlike
he didn't
Harris,
make a cut.
who
Right.
everything is a lie and it doesn't sound believable.
Right.
Which there's
exactly.
a purity to that in a way. But
Is there?
It's, yeah.
It's so sweet and
It
innocent.
is. It's just, but that's kind of the horrible thing is if only she were truly a fool instead of a grasping, power hungry egomaniac.
Yeah.
Then she'd landslide
Right.
for Harris.
Right.
Because
right.
everyone in America really loves a good fool.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh,
It's
we should
how can
make
you,
that
how
fool
can
president.
you resist?
So cute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is JD Vance's issue. Is that he's not so cute.
Yeah, he's
not
not.
just a little idiot. That
Yeah.
you
Pinch
no.
your little cheeks.
No.
Yeah.
He's
no.
like a real guy.
And he says controversial things that
says real
happen to
stuff.
be correct.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it hurts people's feelings when you say
big problem.
Yeah.
Adult male.
them. Yeah. White.
White.
Oof.
Cis.
Ugh. Ugh.
Danger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was. JD Vance would not have been my first pick if I had the gamut of literally anyone, but I was happy with the short list that I heard. I was happy
Who
that he
would
ended
have
up.
been your first pick?
It was never going to happen, but I really wanted DeSantis on the ticket.
Yeah.
I just really, because I felt like we could have all come together and all the hurt feelings could have been erased. And obviously he knows policy. Obviously he's a serious guy. He doesn't have to be the center of attention, in my opinion. And so I thought that would have been a good pairing, but I knew it would never happen.
Well, it was close to being Little Marco, right?
Yeah, that's why I was like, please, for the love of God, pick JD Vance. When you're talking about JD Vance, Tim Scott, or Marco Rubio, I'm like, oh, good God, please. Don't pick anyone other than JD Vance.
Yeah. No, definitely got the highest T count guy.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Vivek, I know they were flirting with that, but
They were.
I think he needs to have a spot somewhere. I just don't know what spot is for him.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what he wants.
I don't know.
I don't know what he wants.
He should be involved in it.
But JD's, bringing a little Indian to the ticket, which is also probably why he's so despised by those lefties.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, they don't like the tale of immigration when it's done the right way, right? Because they hate Melania Trump.
Right.
She's an immigrant too.
Right.
Hate her. Now JD Vance's wife, which her name escapes me right now, but hate her too, apparently. Mm-hmm. So we're told that the tale of, immigrants coming to find a better life and making a family for themselves here in America is supposed to be this beautiful tale, but not when those old white men do it.
No, they don't like it when tech people support Trump. They really don't.
No.
Whether they're white or Indian or Martian, as doubtless some of them are.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like Mark Zuckerberg?
Man, Mark Zuckerberg, his journey,
It's pretty crazy.
I mean, I've convinced myself, and this is, I can't marshal evidence. I don't have a binder full of evidence, but I do think that they blamed him entirely for 2016. And basically called him into like the nightmare room, and they were like, your punishment is as follows. You are destroying Facebook. You are going to be forced to go into the like metaverse, the lamest business possible. Like the humiliations, we're just going to stack. You're going to have to give us like, what it was $200 million to like fortify elections and to stuff, harvest ballots. And we're just going to keep like blaming you and punishing you until we get bored or move on or whatever. And it seems like he's a weird figure because like also like really robotic and holographic, but now he's
Very
like
much.
painstakingly becoming like more like recognizably human, and he's like growing out the hair, and he said that like Trump like surviving was like badass. And I don't know, man. I see two wolves within Mark Zuckerberg, and I hope he just I hope he chooses wisely.
Yeah, it's incredible to see his transformation. It's like he, I don't know, got his T levels checked and started taking jujitsu, and all of a sudden became a real man.
Yeah. But all these movement guys that I've known for years, DC guys with the yellow ties and the blue blazers, going to CPAC or whatever.
Yeah.
These guys are not stoked about Silicon Valley coming in and saying like, hey, so we took all your best ideas and we've been on a lot of human growth hormone and we're like richer than you and we look better than you and we've created our own media systems and we're basically taking over the Trump campaign and we don't need you like lame, neckbeardy, like policy wonks. Goodbye. It's not your party anymore.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of worry coming out of East Coaster sort of movement guys about this.
There's a lot of friction.
Yeah, a lot of friction.
In so many different places though.
Yeah.
Right? Like it's all of the tech inner war, I guess, the conflict that's breaking out there. And then it's in the Democrat Party as well. It's in both parties, really.
Yeah.
The inner conflict.
Yeah. Everyone's fractured.
Yeah.
Everyone's weak.
Yeah. I mean, you're talking about white dudes for Harris, and there's a Republicans for Harris as well, which I just don't even get me started. But it's like there's all of these fractures everywhere. And then you throw the component that you're talking about with, the last human president in Joe Biden and all of these AI components. And I don't know how we get back to real life.
Yeah. Then there's the generational thing.
Yeah.
It used to be that you could just say like, oh, the millennials, Obama people,
right?
But that's not even true anymore.
Yeah.
And then you look at the Zoomers, and it is like, if you are a girl, you are over here politically, and if you are a guy, you are like way over there politically.
Right. And how does that even work with the repopulation rates that we need to sustain the country? I mean, it's all sorts of problems down the road.
It's wild, and it's not just here. I mean, South Korea, that sort of young gender political divide thing is even worse than it is here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's bad.
So, that's my immigration proposal.
What's your immigration proposal?
Is you take all of the most aligned immigrants from like gender divided countries.
Okay.
And then at a certain point, you'll like have a super majority, and then everyone will have to start having babies again.
Okay.
Right?
You just solved it.
There's like one question mark, 3.
It's fine. We'll fill in the blanks. It's just minor details.
Yeah, no.
You got a framework.
I mean, really, like my honest assessment of this is like it's not necessarily a bad thing for the population to decline.
Right.
Just like it's not necessarily a bad thing for the population to grow.
Mm-hmm.
And portraying that conflict as like it's people who want 1 trillion Americans versus people who want the extinction of the human race so that nature can heal. You know, that's not real.
Right.
And forcing people into that dynamic is crazy.
Yeah.
And of course, because it's crazy, it's happening.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, going back to the generational thing too, I think I've seen a real problem in just being active in, you know, the way that not just your country is run, but like your cities, your counties. I actually became a delegate, not that like this election cycle. And so I've gone through that process. And let me just first tell you, it is one of the most boring things I've ever done.
I was going to say, does this explain the 1,000-yard stare?
Yeah.
You're like, I was a delegate.
Oh man, it was, whew. But it was so necessary because I'm looking around and I'm like, I don't consider myself to be a spring chicken. And I was by far the youngest person in the room. I mean, it's just all older people. And I'm like, what are we doing? Yeah. Because they're not going to be around forever.
Even now, they're not. They've already ceased to be around forever.
I know.
Like the Trump's voting base has had to change.
I know. And I don't think that Republicans or conservatives are like prepared for. I don't think that they have a plan, a good plan for that.
No,
I don't think that they have a plan at all for that. And
if you don't want Trump and Lil Pump up there, then you got to like not put your parents in the nursing home. You got to like keep them around a little bit longer.
Yeah. So it's just it really has kind of changed my perspective on that. Just going through that process and really seeing like, holy crap, we have a big generational problem just even within like because people don't understand, oh, a delegate, what's that? But it's like, I mean, you do have a place where you all agree and vote on what the platforms are for the party, which is, I would say, kind of a big deal. Like, let's lay out the goals. So if there are more young people there and they are influencing it more, like they will have more of a say in the direction of the party and hopefully the country. But I mean, for sure, like your locale, wherever you live. So it's been terrifying to me to see the lack of young people's, activity there.
Speaking of terrifying, let's finally talk about the issues. Okay. So like, what do you think is going to move the needle on the actual issues as we go into the home stretch?
I think that the childless cat ladies, abortion is the only thing that matters to them. You're not going to sway them with intelligent arguments on literally anything else that's going on around them. But aside from that, I think illegal immigration is a huge issue for most Americans in a way that we have not seen ever before. I mean, we're talking about people even in Alabama, like rural cities in Alabama, being overrun by illegal immigrants that are reshaping their entire towns. That's never happened before. And so that is an issue that we don't get to say is just a Texas issue or an Arizona issue or even not really a California issue, but these are not border town issues anymore. These are like country, nationwide issues.
And hey, come on, 3 million Trump voters in California last time. So they're out there.
Well, no, they are. I mean, I don't think they stand a chance of like flipping the state, but sorry.
I
know you find that personally offensive, probably.
I find it personally sad.
Yes, I do too, honestly. But so I think illegal immigration and border is going to be a really big driving factor for the country. I think that the Kamala /Biden /Walz /Obama /whoever the hell's running the country, I think that they see that because they've tried to pivot on the issue. They've tried to pretend like this is Donald Trump's fault. Like they've tried to blame others for it, which indicates to me they obviously see that it's a problem and they're trying to cover up for it. So I think that that's going to be the biggest driving factor.
Do you think that it's possible to make a political issue out of these mofos are not real? Like these aren't real people. This isn't kind of shake the American people and say like you do need to realize that this is just a phantasmagoria that they're trying to pull you into.
Yes, I mean, I think that we need to be telling them that. I don't think that it's going to resonate with a lot of people.
Yeah.
I just don't. I mean, I think that if you are a Democrat and you care about democracy, which is what they always talk about, that so-and-so is a threat to democracy. This is a threat to democracy. I mean, come on. If you really cared about democracy, would you be okay with Kamala Harris being installed when nobody voted for her? Not one person voted for her as president, and now all of a sudden, like, they just did the little switcheroo and everyone's fine with it?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, this is like, they are kind of like trapped now.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
Like,
yeah.
how do you? It's like what was it? Like Hellraiser when he was like, "You opened the box, we came," and it's like, I don't know. He's like, sorry.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know if there's any way out for them.
No, I mean, I don't think that there is, but, well, I just wanted them to ride with Biden into the sunset.
Yeah.
Weekend at Bernie's and just let the chips fall where they may. But
Yeah. All right. So abortion.
Yeah.
For people who will never have abortions because they will never have children.
yeah.
Immigration for. Yeah, I mean, it's diversity. In order to have real diversity, you have to have diversity everywhere. And that means that like every rural county
Right.
has to have at least like 5 unvetted strangers just kind of shadily looking around, you know, with some foreign object in their back pocket.
Yeah.
Maybe the fun house of the phony candidacy. What else?
I mean, I wouldn't say gender ideology if the Democrats didn't have a vice presidential candidate who has a very strong record on being very, very pro child mutilation,
Yes.
which I think the majority of the country has a big problem with.
Still, I think so.
Yeah.
At least for now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
So I think that if it is exploited correctly by the Trump campaign, I think that could be a driving factor. But I do think also just people's lifestyle, just the economy, the way that they're living right now. Everyone remembers what it was like before COVID.
Yeah.
We all remember that.
Yeah.
And everyone's paychecks are like being stretched thinner and thinner. They're having to dig into their savings to buy groceries. I mean, people understand what that's like. And I, as a former salesperson, I think that it is like you were taught in all these sales trainings that people have to understand, they have to actually feel the pain. You have to show them the pain that they feel in order to influence them enough to make the decision that you want them to make. And it's like these people are feeling the pain. I mean, they're feeling it in their day-to-day lives when they go to fill up their gas tanks, when they go to the grocery store. They are feeling the pain. So I think with the right messaging, that could also be enough to influence them to show up and vote for something else.
Longstanding rule of political media: nobody cares about foreign policy. Nevertheless, you know, there are a couple good-sized wars a brewing.
Yeah.
They might combine into sort of one like super war.
Right.
You think that's going to move the needle for people?
I would have said that it would have more with Joe Biden as the candidate.
Yeah.
Because you can't have a half-dead guy like navigating us through World War III, ? Right? So
He is still the president.
I know, but he's not the candidate
But
on
he's
the
not
ticket.
presidenting.
Right. Well, right. And we all know that. But he's not the candidate he's not who they're showing up to vote for. Right. So
Yes.
with who they're showing up to vote for, I think that Harris is just, again, you mentioned it earlier. What policies does she have? Right? Like, they don't know it. She's just such an unknown that I think that they can feel comfortable enough. Like, oh, it's fine. She'll do it. She'll guide us. It'll
Yeah,
be
it's
fine.
really incredible because, like, to me, like, this too is isolationism.
Yeah.
Being like, no, we're just going to disappear into like a world of a kaleidoscope of joy and intersectionality. You know, like, you do realize that like the world is literally burning down, right? You're like, no, can't hear, no, you're not
Right.
listening.
Right.
You know, my
Yeah.
feelings are my superpowers.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
this is, I don't think it can last. And if you're, you know, maybe an adversary of the United States and you're sort of like going through your, you know, your like motivational yearly planner or whatever, and you're like, Q3 is looking good,
Yeah.
you guys. Like, this
Yeah.
is the moment, right?
Right.
This
Yeah.
is the moment to grab what you can.
Yeah, well, and I will, let me give a caveat. I do think that the only way that I see Americans really going, okay, we got to vote for something else when it comes to foreign relations is that we are seeing how much of our taxpayer money is going to fund, I would argue, both sides of these conflicts.
Right.
And so at a time where you have all of these other things building up, you have all of these people coming into our country and getting free stuff. Sorry, I almost used a different word. I will not do that on your program.
We can bleep you
No,
if
it's
we
fine.
need to.
No, it's fine. It's fine. But
protect your reputation online.
yes, please.
Yes.
I could never be caught using a foul language online.
We can filter even the unfiltered.
But I mean, when Americans are seeing themselves struggle to make ends meet and seeing illegals come across the border and get all this free stuff, and then they're seeing all of their hard-earned money being funneled to Ukraine for this, war with seemingly no end in sight, that should give them reason for. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
Call me crazy.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just me, but for me, I'm like this. Americans should be pissed about this. And I think a lot of them are.
Well, we talked a little bit about Jewish Americans, and it's probably like a good sort of note to close out on, because this is kind of like a really, really unprecedented question that's like up in the air, is like the divides in the Jewish community or whatever you want to call it are really extraordinary and unprecedented.
Yeah.
You've got some of them who are just like straight up, it's Trump or bust. You got some of them who are like, I can't do that, but I'm really uncomfortable with the weirdness in my own party, but I'm going to just vote Democrat anyway. Then you got far lefties, Jewish far lefties, and then you got Jewish far righties too. Right. And it's just like this is a complete breakdown of what we used to think of as identity politics.
Yeah. Well, and of course you have Donald Trump fanning the flames by saying that Jewish people who vote for Kamala need their head examined. Which I don't disagree with, honestly. I'm like, where's the lie? Show me the lie. The Democrat Party has hated Jewish people for a very long time. I am very glad that they finally have exposed themselves in such a way that like they can't put the genie back in the bottle.
Yeah.
So I, for one, am here for it.
And then J.D. Vance saying real things.
Yeah.
He's now gone out and said like Nick Fuentes is a total loser.
Yeah.
Is the quote, and he's been really at the forefront of that kind of, whatever you want to call it, sort of grassroots like critics of Israel from the right.
Right.
And so I don't know. Yeah, I do not know how this is going to shake out.
Well, buckle up. It's going to be an interesting few months, and there's not enough alcohol in the world.
What is your coping beverage of choice this election season?
An old fashioned.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like a classic old fashioned, or like lots of salad in there? Like, how do you do it?
No, a classic. Well, I will say I don't do sugar, so I use erythritol instead of sugar.
Really?
Yeah.
That is really like that makes it healthy, right?
Yeah, I like to think so. I'm doing it for my health, honestly.
Yeah, there's no refined sugar.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's not processed.
I recently got a creamy. Like Creamy with an I, which is like that home ice cream making.
Oh, yeah.
Thing.
Yeah.
Right.
The Ninja Creamy.
Yes.
Is it amazing?
So I haven't opened it up yet. I'm afraid of what's going to happen to me when I open it up, because this is, I've seen the like viral sort of recipe videos where it's like, Lift Bros and like bro science guys, and they're like, this is it. All you need to consume is orange juice and ice cream. You throw the protein powder in the creamy and,
right.
And this is like one meal a day.
Yeah.
It's like the sort of roided out version of Jenny Craig or whatever. and that's, that's all very exciting. But then, then there's that bottle of Jack that you can just like fill, you can make boozy milkshakes and you can make boozy ice cream, and you can make healthy boozy ice cream by, no refined sugar. You can put in the protein powder, you put in the collagen, you can put in whatever you want. You get human growth hormone. You just throw it all in there. And then, I can become like the Mark Zuckerberg of the October surprise season, just coming out like perfectly bronzed.
I'm in. And, this is a perfect plan for you.
Just creamied into S tier status. That's I don't know whether to fear this future or to welcome it.
I think you should embrace it.
I think I'm going to embrace it, and then I will embrace the election season and embrace whatever America we wind up with come, I don't know, November, January. January feels so far away.
Yeah, it does. It's so close yet so far.
Yeah. We might never be the same.
No.
And yet, things never really stay the same for that long.
That's fair.
Yeah. Nothing but the fundamentals.
Right.
I mean, if you teleported someone from ancient Rome into this conversation, they'd be like, yeah. We know. We know.
Why didn't you learn from us?
Yeah. And yet the wheels keep turning.
Yeah.
Sara Gonzales, the show is unfiltered.
Yes.
the contact information so that people who have never seen your face or heard of you before and yet find themselves watching all the way to the end of this show and they want to send you a note telling you how amazing you are. Twitter? X?
Yeah, X. Yeah,
Zeet.
Twitter. Yes. Yeah.
Zeet you.
Yeah. Sarah Gonzales TX. There's no H in Sarah. That's just an unnecessary letter.
Wow.
So Sarah.
Do you ever
Gonzales
think about
TX.
just taking it down to SRA?
No, but I should.
Think about it.
Sra.
Yeah.
You don't need the first day anyway.
Sara Gonzales, always a very real experience with you.
Yeah, thank you.
See you around.
All right, thanks.
And I'll see you around too. That's all the time we got. Until next time around, I'm James Polis. This is Zero Hour. And may God have mercy on us all.